comes to food, Barbara, you mentioned the simple food. What about, I hear this a lot about the food combinations. Ellen White says in one of her books, especially if you have feeble stomach, don't mix fruits and vegetables together. What are your thoughts on that? Just because we don't have a feeble stomach, should we be mixing fruits and vegetables together, or how should we combine food? Because I've heard this from church members as well, that, well, Ellen White said, if you have a feeble stomach, so I don't have a feeble stomach, I should not worry about that.
Well, if you don't have a feeble stomach and you keep combining the fruits and vegetables, it soon will be feeble. Why? Why? Let me tell you why. Fruit is very high in sugar, it's high in fiber, and it's low in minerals, whereas the vegetables are high in fiber, they're high in minerals and low in sugars. And so they don't mix very well together in the stomach. Now, there is a class of fruit that is what we call the savoury fruit. So even though they've got the classification of fruit, which is the seed in the article, they are savoury fruits. So we look at them that they can go either way. So that's the tomato, the avocado, the lemon, the eggplant, zucchini, cucumber, squash, or pumpkin and aubergine. And so that class of vegetables really can go either way. Now, it's not the odd day you do it or the odd day you don't. It's really what you do every day that determines it. So sometimes after a main meal, we'll have an apple pie, my husband's favourite, after a vegetable meal. But that doesn't happen every day. In fact, I'm travelling at the moment. It's not happening at all at the moment. So it's not the odd day you might mix a few together, but it's basically what you do every day that determines it.
You mentioned apple pie, Barbara. It just reminded me of cinnamon. Do you recommend using spices, or we should not be using spices, only herbs? How do you differentiate between those?
That's right. So now we have to determine what is a spice. A spice is an irritant. So what are the irritants? Mustard is an irritant. Black pepper certainly is an irritant, and they should never be taken. Personally, I don't use cinnamon, but if someone makes a baked rice pudding and puts a half a teaspoon of cinnamon in it and 10 people are going to eat that pudding, to me that's not a big deal. But to take a teaspoon of cinnamon, that gets to the point of irritation. So what I use instead of cinnamon now is coriander, and that gives a very nice flavour.
Okay, that's true. So what about black pepper? I've heard that it enhances turmeric's benefits for the body. Is that true? Should we be taking black pepper with turmeric?
It is true, and so I wanted to know why. The Proverbs 14 verse 6 says, knowledge is easy to him that understands. We need to know why. Why does it enhance it? It's because it contains a plant chemical called pepperine. Well, cayenne pepper contains pepperine too.
Okay.
So and yet I don't use black pepper because it is an irritant. And I was also reading in an agricultural magazine that every single peppercorn they tested, dried peppercorn, had fungus in it. So it seems that the black pepper develops fungus very easy as it's drying.
Okay. The same thing I've heard about vanilla bean as well, that it's impossible to make the vanilla bean that we have today without fermenting and without the process of rotting somehow.
Well, we need to understand that there's culturing, there's fermenting, and there's rotting. You know, rotting is when something goes bad. But when you culture, it's not bad. It actually enhances the nutrients and the digestibility. And the other thing is, how much vanilla do you use? You know, I might put a little vanilla in a pear cream I'm making with cashews, I might put half a teaspoon and it's going to feed 10 people. That's hardly anything.